Greg Abbott expanded his executive order on travel. Our Janelle Fort now joining us live with more on that. Janelle, there are a lot of people in Louisiana with Houston ties.
Absolutely, Xavier. So it's going to be interesting to see just how many people are impacted by this order and how Governor Abbott plans to enforce it. The first step, of course, letting folks know what's going on. They've already got these signs up on Texas highways letting folks know about the order. And anyone entering Texas from Louisiana will have to self-quarantine for 14 days when they get here, and that starts today at noon. Now, Governor Abbott says the Texas Department of Public Safety will be enforcing these new guidelines. They'll be stationed at and near entry ports from Louisiana. The governor also says if they catch you not abiding by the order, you could face jail time and a fine. There are some exceptions. The restrictions do not apply to travel related to commercial activities, military service, emergency response, health response, or critical infrastructure functions. Self-quarantine is now mandatory for anyone traveling to Texas from the New York tri-state area, New Orleans, as well as Atlanta, Chicago, Miami, Detroit, and all of California and Washington state. It's the latest push to slow the spread of COVID-19 as more hotspots pop up around the country. We've been getting a lot of questions from you all, though, about what exactly this means for you all, especially folks who may travel here for things like a medical care. We're working to get those answers for you guys, and when we get it, we'll be sure to give it to you both on air and online. Back to you guys in the studio.